She thought she had her whole life ahead of her, that she could just hit pause, fly off to Europe, post a couple of wine glasses on Instagram, hide behind words like, "I need to find myself," and return to the way things were, as if nothing had changed. What she didn't know was that while she was out searching, someone else had made a choice too. Not loud, not dramatic, but irreversible. He didn't shatter plates or beg her to stay. He simply changed everything. Quietly, deliberately, permanently. While she posed in front of sunsets and embraced new friends, he was erasing traces of her from the home they once shared. He didn't yell, he observed. And when she came back, she didn't find a wounded husband. She found someone who no longer waited, someone who had learned to let go, because sometimes the strongest thing you can do isn't to hold on. It's to stop trying to save someone who never asked to be saved. Hello, my friend. I'm so glad you stopped by my channel. If you're here for the first time, don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends or family. It really helps my channel a lot. Please tell me in which city or country you watched this video. I value every one of your comments. So, let's get started. They say there's a point in life when everything shifts, a single instant that cleaves your timeline into before and after. Mine arrived on an otherwise unremarkable Thursday evening, right after we cleared the dinner plates. Ophelia stood at the sink, rinsing dishes like it was any other weeknight. "I'm thinking about taking a trip," she said, casually, like she was telling me we were out of milk. "Just a few weeks. Europe." I paused mid-sip. "By yourself?" "Well, not exactly. Marissa and Lena are coming along, but it's something I need to do for me." She wouldn't look at me, just scrubbed at a pan like the words she was saying wouldn't echo for the rest of our lives. Marissa and Lena, both newly single, both navigating the ruins of messy breakups, both riding whatever wave of independence was currently in fashion. I didn't need to ask. I knew what kind of trip this was morphing into. "What is it you're hoping to discover there that you haven't found here?" I asked. She toweled her hands and met my gaze at last. "Ryan, I've never done anything that wasn't for someone else. I went straight from living at home into building a life with you. I need to figure out who I am again." We'd been married 4 years, just bought our first house a few months back. Sure, we'd had our struggles, but I thought we were steady, solid. Turns out, I'd been wrong. "It's not about partying," she added quickly, likely reading my face. "It's not that kind of thing. I just need some space to think." I nodded, slowly. "Space, so you can work out what you want. Before what? Before we start a family? Before things get too anchored to take off on a European soul-searching trip with Marissa and her Pilates guru? That's not fair." "Which part? The trip, or the fact you've made this decision without involving me?" She let out a sharp breath. "I knew you'd react like this. That's why I nearly waited until everything was booked before I told you. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't a negotiation. It was a declaration. She wasn't seeking permission. She was informing me. She left the following weekend. I didn't put up a fight. But that same night, I made a quiet decision of my own, one she'd never see coming. I drove her to the airport that morning, not out of love, but to deny her the satisfaction of painting me as difficult. She looked like she was off to brunch rather than about to cross an ocean. Linen blazer, massive sunglasses, a designer suitcase that cost more than my first car. "You all right?" she asked as we pulled up to the drop-off. "I'm fine," I replied, cutting the engine. "Got your passport?" She nodded, then paused. "You're being really quiet." I turned to her. "You're flying across the world with 2 women who treat relationships like hobbies, and you're surprised I'm not chatty?" She shook her head. "This is exactly why I needed space. You always twist everything." "It's not about cheating," she added. "No," I said. "But trips like this tend to nudge doors open that shouldn't even be cracked." She rolled her eyes and stepped out. I followed, grabbed her suitcase from the trunk. She kissed my cheek, like I was an old co-worker, not her husband. "I'll text when I land." "You don't need to," I said. Her expression tightened. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means go chase whatever it is you think you're missing. Just don't act like this is about us." She didn't answer, just took the handle of her suitcase and walked away. I stood there for a beat, then got back in the car and drove off, never once looking back. That afternoon, I started going through our finances. I wasn't aiming to blow anything up. I'm not the vengeful type. But I redirected my paycheck to a separate account, canceled the fall vacation we'd booked, made sure the refund went to my card, changed the billing info on everything we shared, utilities, insurance, subscriptions, subtle shifts, but they added up. We weren't officially splitting. Not yet. But I wasn't about to keep living like I had a partner who still honored her vows. Let her go find herself. I'd stay right here, paying attention. By day 4, the first photo hit my feed. A wine glass on a patio table, cobblestone street behind it. Caption: "Lost in Lisbon, finding clarity." Lisbon wasn't even on the original itinerary. Then came Seville, Milan. Nice. Clearly, the plan had gone out the window. Now they were city-hopping like college kids with Eurail passes, untethered and floating. Each post carefully curated, hand-painted tapas plates, shimmering coastal sunsets, sandy feet on foreign beaches. Ophelia laughing with Marissa. Ophelia posing with abstract art. Ophelia twirling in maxi dresses and hiding behind massive sunglasses. But one photo stopped me cold. A group shot. Her, Marissa, Lena, and 3 guys I'd never seen before. One had his arm wrapped around Ophelia's waist. No tags, no explanation. Just the caption: "New friends, old souls." I stared at it for a long time, then opened a folder on my desktop and started saving screenshots. Call it paranoia, call it preparation. Either way, I was finished giving her the benefit of the doubt. No comments, no messages, no reaction. She sent one text that week. "Hey, hope things are good back home. We just got to Barcelona." The view was breathtaking. I didn't reply to her message. The next day, Marissa posted a clip from a beachfront lounge. Ophelia was in the frame, barefoot with a cocktail in hand, moving gently to the rhythm of the music. That same guy from the earlier picture was right beside her, no shirt, leaning in close, whispering something just out of earshot. She didn't flinch or pull away. I watched the video more than once before saving it alongside the others. I didn't reach out, didn't ask questions. I simply waited. And then, nearly a month later, Ophelia stepped into our house like nothing had happened at all. She let her luggage fall by the door and flashed a radiant smile, as if she'd just returned from conquering the world. "It feels incredible to be back," she said, stretching with a yawn. "You wouldn't believe the train delays in Italy." I was standing by the kitchen island, arms folded. Her eyes drifted around the room. "You moved some things?" "I had the time," I said. She came closer, leaning in for a kiss. I angled away, letting her lips graze my cheek. Her smile faltered. "You're mad?" "No," I said. "You're back. Isn't that all that matters?" She chuckled softly, though the sound carried an edge of unease. "Okay. Listen. I know how it might have looked, but it wasn't what you're thinking. We just needed some space, that's all." Looked like you found someone to share that space with. A beat passed before she said, "So, you saw the posts." "I saw plenty." "Oh, Ryan, you know how it is. People end up in the same frame sometimes. Doesn't mean a thing. You weren't wearing your wedding ring." She grimaced. It felt safer not to. We were tourists. Standing out can attract attention. I said nothing. She turned and unzipped her suitcase, rummaging through it before holding out a tiny Vespa keychain. "I got you something. Thought of you when I saw it. You always said you wanted to visit Rome." I accepted it, placed it on the counter, and pulled an envelope from a drawer. I handed it to her without a word. She opened it slowly. Inside was a bank confirmation showing our joint accounts being split. Underneath that were the first documents to buy out her share of the house. I'd also included a contact card for the moving company I'd already hired. She stared at the papers like they were written in another language. "You're asking me to leave?" she said, stunned. "You said you needed space," I replied, calm. "I made sure you'd have enough." Her voice cracked. "All this because of one trip?" I took a sip from my coffee. "No, because of a choice. One you made without me." She slumped onto the sofa, looking rattled. "It was never supposed to be permanent, Ryan. I just needed time to think." "Time to do what?" I asked. "To flirt your way through Europe? Pretend you were single again? What exactly were you hoping to come back to?" She shook her head, like I was the unreasonable one. "You're taking this too far. You won't even let me explain." "You had 4 weeks," I said. "All I got were sunny pictures and captions that said nothing." "I didn't sleep with him. But you thought about it, didn't you?" The silence that followed said more than any admission could. "You think not acting on it makes it harmless?" I said. "You erased me the second you boarded that plane. You wanted freedom, Ophelia, and you got it. But freedom comes with a cost." Her eyes welled with tears. "So that's it? Just like that?" I didn't answer right away. Instead, I went to the hall closet, pulled out the duffel bag I'd already packed for her, and placed it by the couch. "You can stay with Marissa. Or Lena. You've got options." She got to her feet, her voice shaky. "You're really doing this?" I met her gaze. "I told you not to pretend this trip was for us. You made your choice. Now I'm making mine." There was no shouting, no drama, just the dense, unspoken weight of an ending settling into the room. By the end of the week, she was gone. Marissa arrived in her compact blue hatchback to help load up Ophelia's things. She didn't say much, just nodded stiffly when I answered the door, muttered a flat, "Hey," and walked down the hall toward the bedroom. Ophelia kept quiet too. She moved around like a visitor, gathering her belongings. She took down photos from the walls, cleared out drawers, left a half-used bottle of shampoo in the shower, like she couldn't quite finish letting go. At one point, she paused in the doorway, watching me type at the dining table. "This still doesn't feel real," she whispered. I didn't lift my head. "It is. I thought maybe we could fix it. Once I came back. You should have thought about that before you left without me." That weekend, my brother Alec came over with his truck. We loaded the last of her boxes into storage. He didn't demand explanations, just gathered his things, secured them carefully, and drove off. Once his taillights faded into the night, I stayed outside on the balcony, wrapped in a blanket, sipping slowly from a glass of whiskey. The house felt different now. Quieter, yes, but not vacant. The stillness wasn't a void. It was something that felt entirely mine. I wasn't furious. I wasn't broken. I was simply released. The same kind of freedom she had chased halfway across the globe. Strange how I found it without ever leaving home. 2 weeks slipped by before she reached out again. A number I didn't recognize flashed across my phone screen. I let it ring until it stopped. Then the emails started arriving. "Can we talk?" "Just one conversation, Ryan. Please." I said nothing. The following afternoon, I spotted her standing outside the house, arms crossed over her chest like armor, trying not to look affected. When I walked out the door, she approached like we hadn't just dismantled everything. "I've been trying to get in touch," she said. "I know," I replied, sliding my key into the lock. "You really moved on this fast?" "I started moving the second you said you needed space." She hesitated, like she was adjusting her approach. I made a mistake. I met her gaze without flinching. "No, you made a choice. You just don't like the outcome. I thought we were stronger than this." "No, Ophelia, I was strong. You were uncertain." She flinched like the words had landed squarely. You don't mean that. I mean every word. Slowly, she reached into her purse and brought out a small black box. Inside was my wedding ring. I kept it the whole time. I never even took it out. Then it still traveled farther than our marriage ever did. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. Just stunned silence. I stepped around her, heading for my car. Her voice broke as she called after me. So that's it? I glanced over my shoulder once. You wanted freedom, Ophelia. Now you have it. I climbed in, started the engine, and this time, I never looked back. It's been 5 months since that day. The house was sold. We divided the necessary things. No drawn-out battles, no courtroom scenes, no theatrics, just simple goodbyes and clean exits. I downsized, moved closer to the office. 1 bedroom, simple, quiet, mine. I took up running again. Thursday nights, I attend a photography class. It's strange how the little parts of yourself start resurfacing when you stop bleeding out for someone who wouldn't have lifted a finger to save you. Friends still mention her sometimes. Are you sure you don't want to talk it through? She's been seeing a therapist. Maybe she's changed. Maybe. But I no longer need to know. That's what real peace offers you, the freedom to stop wondering. Word is she's been dating here and there, nothing serious, nothing lasting. Then, one day, she sent a final message. A photo. That old Vespa-shaped keychain from Rome resting in her hand. No caption. I deleted it without responding. What she doesn't realize is that I still have mine, not as a keepsake of her, but as a marker. A reminder that love, the real kind, isn't about grand reunions or tearful makeups. It's about staying. Staying when it's uncomfortable. Staying when escape masquerades as freedom. Staying when the world whispers that something brighter might be just around the corner. She left in search of herself. I stayed and found who I was. I've started seeing someone new, no rush, no fireworks, just something steady. The kind of warmth that doesn't demand attention but fills the room regardless. This story has come to an end. What's your opinion? Share it in the comments, my friend. And if you liked this story, check out other exciting videos on my channel. I'll say goodbye until the next video. See you.